Hello and welcome to one more English lesson. As always, thank you very much for being here, okay? And with no longer, conversation, let's go directly to the topic, okay? Last week we had one of the most difficult activities, as I can say, okay, in my opinion, which was do some activities, in the test style. What I mean with that is like I gave you some activities, some pictures to analyze, and then you guys had to answer that. Okay, so today I'm gonna be analyzing that, like the answers, and then of course I'm gonna give you a feedback to you during the week. But now in this lesson, now we are gonna move on. We are gonna go to the next part, which is the origins and outbreak of the Second World War. Okay, so of course just in this beginning, just in this title, like origins and outbreak, we have here two new words. Origins, maybe I think origins is not like too new word for you, right? But I believe that outbreak, maybe yes, maybe not everybody knows really much about this word, and maybe you don't know the meaning of that. So this is what we're gonna analyze, okay? And as we're gonna read, of course, it's gonna probably it's gonna get easier to understand the meaning of the word because of the context, right? Of the content here that we're gonna study. So just follow me, okay? And thanks a lot. And by the way, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I've seen on the Facebook that today Marcella, one of the students who are watching this lesson right now, today is her birthday. If it is, of course, congratulations, okay? Wish you a very, very happy birthday, okay? All the best for you and your family, of course, right? And then, if you, how can I say that? If it's possible, all the students who are watching this lesson, please, give me the informations of your birthday, okay? So, because, I'm a forgetful person, like sometimes I don't even remember my own birthday, but let's go. And I'm gonna change now to today's topic. Okay, so that's it. We have the title here, right? As you can see, the origin and outbreak of the Second World War. And then the title is The Rise of European Dictators. I guess you know dictators, right? I think the very best definition for dictators, are people who wants to control everything in their own way. We had Mussolini, we had Adolf Hitler, and we had many examples, right? So this is the definition of dictator, right? And then the rise of European dictators means like that the rise, the how can I say, it means that dictators, they got power, they started, like their bad activities, right? Like they were born, and like, so every time that we have this sentence, the rise of means that they grew up, they appeared, like they began. That is the thing. Okay, so let's get back there and let's go on. So moving on the beginning here, right, of the reading in this part here, we have dictators rose to power during a time of depression and international tension in Europe. Of course, there were some, problems in the world, and then they use it, like they got that time to do what they wanted. Okay, so that is the point here. So moving on problems and fears aided the rise of dictators. This word here, aided, okay, I think the easiest way to understand that, it's like helped, okay? So if some aid, we can see that word sometimes, like for example in an ambulance, or normally we have a little box, with some basic things that if we have any wound, or if we get hurt, right? So we have some basic things like band-aid, alcohol, like some things that it's like the first aid to help you if you have any accident. Okay, so this one is the same word, aided. So every time that we see this word, it has the idea of helping. So it means that the problems and the fears that were happening that time, okay, helped the, how can I say that, like the grow, the the power getting, the get of the power of the dictators, right? Why I say that? Because remember, we have studied that before. they got the first point, which was, I mean, the League of Nations was very weak. Yeah, I mean, they wasn't really being able to do what they were supposed to do. So, and we had, I mean, these people, right? These nations at that time, they had just like had been getting out of a very strong economic crisis situation, right? So I mean, they had many problems, and even domestic problems, right? Remember, when I say domestic problems, I mean like internal problems, when we talk about countries, nations, right? So I mean, they were in a really difficult situations. And of course, yeah, like we have some people like this, yeah, that they don't really have like a goodwill, right? I mean, when I say a goodwill, like maybe they want to do something that they believe it's good, but of course, yeah, they I think they don't follow the right reasons for that, and then of course it's gonna become a disaster, right? Because this is what happened when we try to solve all the problems, yeah, of the world, or when we think that the world needs us, and it doesn't work, for sure not, right? Remember, every time that we try to control the situation, every time that we try to like to be the hero of the world using our own force and power, I mean, all the time that we do that, we're gonna have problems. I mean, this is gonna become a disaster. This is gonna turn into a disaster. Why? Because it doesn't it doesn't depend on us only, you know, to help the world to solve the problem. I mean, to that's why there is a God. Yeah, that's why there is this supernatural reality, you know, and some people call that metaphysics, right? Okay, so I mean, of course, this is another topic. Yeah, this is a little bit of philosophy, but normally dictators, not all, maybe, yeah, maybe we have some different definitions for that, but normally dictators, they see the world and they think that they can make the world better, but using their own power, intelligence, and that's it. They feel like they put themselves into God's place, and then according to history, right, we have seen what happened all the time that someone tried to do that. Yeah, only disaster. So let's get back. Getting back to the reading, right? So let's move on, okay? And then we begin here. Dictatorship might seem a scary idea. Oh, sorry. But for some people, it solved a lot of worrying issues. So let's see. The Locarno Treaties, yeah, this is the name of one of the treaties, had only settled the western borders of Germany. The borders on the east were vulnerable, and if Germany wanted to expand, people wanted strong leaders to protect them. I mean, again, right? I get back here. So let's analyze this. Let's discuss a little bit of this part, right? Okay, so uh, analyze that sentence. Dictatorship might seem a scary idea, but for some people, it solved a lot of worrying issues. I mean, um, let's think like the army way of thinking. Do you know army? Do you know what is that army? Army? If you don't know, it's o exército, right? Okay, so soldiers, for example, when we talk about soldiers, yeah, they normally they don't think. When I say they don't think, it doesn't mean that they are stupid. No, but it's just like they are treated, they are trained to just obey orders, and that's it. Like there is a leader, so that leader will think about everything that they have to do. They I mean, they will give the time that they have to wake up, the time that they have to sleep, you know. So soldiers like they act, yeah, like their lifestyle is like that. A soldier doesn't think, he'd only follow orders, and that's it. Okay, so when we see that this information here, that for if we know that dictatorship is a bad thing, so how come it might have solved some issues, some problems of the people? I mean, it solved some problems of some specific people because these kind of people normally, okay, this is teacher's opinion, you know, like they don't wanna, you know, like they don't wanna problems. They don't wanna like have to think too much or try, or you know, like make decisions, you know, like have, you know, difficult, that kind of stuff, that things that we have to use energy, I mean, and time, you know, like that kind of stuff that normally makes us feels boring. Okay, so they just want to follow rules. Yeah, like for example, like here our life, Brazilians in Japan, right? So we go to the factory and then we don't have to do anything. We just go there, we put the time card, and then someone tell us what we have to do, and then we do, and that's it. And when we finish and we get back. So we don't have to think too much. We don't have to think like, okay, so what's gonna happen if I have problem? Because if I have problem, I just talk to my boss or my leader, and he's gonna solve the problem. Yeah. So people that only think like that, okay, I mean, these kind of people normally, I mean, they, depending on the situation, they think like maybe a kind of a dictator, yeah, might be good, yeah. Because why? Because they don't have to think, they don't have to do anything, just follow what the dictator says, and that's it, okay. So believe it or not, some people, they kind of agree with that idea. Okay, so that's why we have seen that sentence here, right? But for some people, it solved a lot of worrying issues. I mean, Germany, they were in a very bad situation, so they wanted someone, yeah, that at least they believed that he was a strong person, yeah, like Hitler, so maybe he could solve the problems of all people. And of course, normally it doesn't work, okay? But I hope you have understood what I meant here by my explanation. So let's move on. And so again, in the number one, so the Locarno Treaties had only settled the western borders of Germany. So the borders of the east were vulnerable if Germany wanted to expand. So people wanted strong leaders to protect them because only one side of the border was protected, right? By this treaty. So next one, number two, the Depression. Again, remember when we talk about the Depression, we mean economical problems, right? So it still affected most countries, causing widespread unemployment, people that had no jobs, and poverty. Yeah, like I mean, no money, no way, no food, and like just lack of everything. People welcomed strong governments who promised to put things right. Okay. So again, the same situation, right? Again, because of the depression, yeah, the world got in a really terrible situation. I mean, out of control. And then, of course, what people wanted, they wanted a strong government that could solve all the problems for them. Yeah, so I don't have to do anything. Just I I choose a good leader, and that leader will solve all my problems. Yeah, this is normally what the state does, right? So just this is very good, like study this kind of topic because we can think a little bit about, yeah, because it's kind of right. We live in a kind of a similar reality right now. So sometimes we think that everything, all our financial, social problems, it's gonna be solved by the government, and not. I mean, and we don't have nothing to do with that. We can't do. So we believe in things like that. In my opinion, I'm not sure if it's really, like if it's real, reality is really like that. I think maybe we have some kind of a power to do something. Not everything, of course, but maybe we should not depend, I mean, totally on the state. But anyway, moving on. Continuing, number three here, democracy was often blamed for the bad conditions. Democratic governments seemed unable to prevent them happening or to improve the situation. Okay, so they blame. If you blame something, it means that you say, okay, it's your fault. You are gonna blame democracy. So I mean, the reason why we are in this really bad situation is because of democracy. Yeah, like the right. Do you understand democracy? Okay, so let me get a very simple definition of democracy for you. Give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna read it for you. So, in the dictionary, okay, the definition of democracy, yeah, and I think this definition, it was by Abraham Lincoln, right? A very famous name. So, democracy is government by the people, in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised directly by them or by their elected agents under a free electoral system. It's like we have in Brazil. It seems like, right? And so, in the phrase of Abraham Lincoln, democracy is a government of people, of the people, by the people, and for the people. So, normally, democracy, I mean, people choose, like they choose who they want to govern, and then supposedly they have the power to get this person out of the power if they want to, if they are not happy with that. Yeah, so this is democracy, democracy's definition. And here in number three, we can see that they were blaming democracy, yeah, like maybe too much freedom. So this is why these many problem happen. Of course, when we see that, it's a little bit strange, right? But anyway, let's move on. Let's continue the reading. So let's move on. And then number 4 now, communism. Communism was seen as a threat, of course, as a danger, as something bad to all of Europe after the Russian Revolution in 1917. People looked to strong leaders to fight the threat of a worldwide communist revolution. I mean, I think in in the world's history, right? Communism, it was, it is, and it will always be something bad. It's just gonna be a threat, a danger to what we call freedom, right? France, number 5. Let's go. Was still suspicious of Germany and was building strong defenses behind its border with Germany. Many Germans felt they needed a strong leader against what they saw as a French threat. Okay, so again, analyze that sentence. France was still suspicious of Germany and was building strong defenses behind its border with Germany. So many Germans felt that they need a strong leader against what they saw as a French threat. Okay, so if we go back in the story, remember that in the First World War, yeah, Germany was considered like fully guilty for all the bad things for the war and for everything, right? And then now, after the end of that First World War, France, yeah, this country, I mean the French people, they were still, probably not the people, but the government, they were still a little bit like suspicious, like I don't know, maybe we cannot trust in Germany. Yeah, maybe they are still with that. So what they did, they started, like as we could read here, building strong defenses. I mean, army, yeah, like but probably put guns behind the border, like basically doing some military preparation, right? And then of course Germany, I mean, knew that, right? And that's why we can see here by that situation they felt that they needed a strong leader, like someone that could really put things in order, right? And then and then who came? It was Hitler, right? But anyway, so let's go on. Let's go to number 6. And then number 6, disarmament failed, of course, right? Remember that disarmament, the definition of that is the gun control, right? Most countries refused to disarm to the same level as Germany. In 1932, Germany saw this as unfair, yeah, I mean unfair, algo não justo, and became determined to rebuild its armed forces. I mean, of course, yeah. This was, I think, this was one of the how can I say, the task, yeah, like one of the jobs, as we say, from of the League of Nations. But of course, they failed totally to do that. Yeah, and then Germany, seeing that I mean, any other country, they were doing the same. Like they were like having this gun control, disarmament. So of course they said, okay, so why only us? That I mean, that we have to do that. Why only us? So if you're not doing so, we are not going to do that too. And then they restarted, yeah, like rebuilding their armed forces and everything else. So you see, it's too much. I mean, too much information. Too many things happened between like this ending of the First World War and the beginning of the Second one, right? So when we go back into history and then we think like, so why we had the Second World War? I think most of the time we don't know exactly the reason why they started that, I mean, why something so bad happened. I mean, if we analyze history, we can see that many things, like we had many hints, right? Many situations that were helping to lead to this war, right? So many bad things, so many problems that happened before that, I mean, as we could see, I mean, if nothing changed, right? So of course we would get into a war, and then it was exactly what happened, right? So Let's move on. Let's continue in the reading. And then the situation, this part here. The situation wasn't made any easier by the continued isolationism of the USA. Again, isolationism means that they didn't want to get involved into this situation. The USA stayed out of the world affairs, situation, and Britain and France weren't strong enough to oppose the large number of foreigner dictators, of course, right? So, and then USA, they didn't want to help Britain and France. They were like already, weak, right? They had been, how can I say, hit by economic crisis, by the First World War, right? So they didn't have power enough to face these new dictatorships that were appearing, and then we know what happened, right? So let's move on. And going down here a little, right, we have our first and probably most famous dictator of all time, right? Like Adolf Hitler, who aimed to make Germany great again. That was the idea, right? Number one, Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi Party, became the Chancellor of Germany in 1933. Okay, so Chancellor of Germany. Do you know what is that? In Germany, they use that expression. Yeah, like they don't use president or prime minister, but they use chancellor. Like I know that in Portuguese we call that chanceler. Yeah? Algum tempo atrás a gente tinha a chanceler Merkel, eu acho que era o nome da, era uma mulher, né, que tava, agora não sei que trocou, mas a gente chama de chancellor, de chanceler, okay? So let's move on in the reading here. Number two, so he then established a dictatorship. He had the power, he controlled everything. That is the thing of dictatorship. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So he governed without a parliament. A parliament. You know what is a parliament? It's one of the, how can I say, one of the structure of a government, of a democracy, right? Banned trade unions and opposition parties and used violence and terror against his opponents. By August 1934, he called himself the Führer, the leader, right? Führer means the leader. Okay, so let's see. We have some parliament, trade unions, opposition parties. Okay, we have some informations here. So I'm gonna give you a simple explanation for you. The parliament, yeah, what we call in Portuguese like parlamento. Okay, so normally, okay, let's use democracy as an example. Normally, democracy we have like three. It's divided into like three powers, right? We have this Congress, as we say, yeah, or Congress is different from Parliament, but just for you to have an idea, yeah. So they are like similar, and then we have, for example, like in Brazil, yeah, we have the Supreme Court, right? It's a kind of a power, and then we have the executive, which is the president itself, yeah. So if we think about Brazil, if we think about democracy, so Supreme Court, executive, yeah, and legislative, which is the Congress, yeah. These three powers, they work together. There is no one more powerful than the other. Like they have the same power, and each of these group, each of this category, they do some specific work, So the executive, like where the president holds, he is the leader. For example, he has like some actions to do, like to do some actions, like he's basically, okay, so we're gonna do that, and then we do that. The parliament, yeah, or the Congress, as in Brazil is Congress, not parliament, okay? So they just work on making new rules, new legislation, like new rules for people to follow, and maybe to help the people's life and society, right? And then the Supreme Court, normally they are the protectors of the country's constitution. Normally we have a constitution, okay? So this is more or less how it works. For example, parliament, it's similar to a Congress, but in a for example, what country that we have that really works this style of government is England. England has a parliament, okay? So it's a little bit different from Brazil. It's not really exactly the same. Yeah, like the divisions are a little bit different. And then, but I mean, I'm gonna show you some pictures, right? And how does it work? I'm gonna leave some, not sorry, not some pictures, but I'm gonna leave some videos for you about how the British Parliament works and how does, just for you to have an idea. So watch that later, okay? But these are just some examples of kind of governments, okay? So let's move on. Let's continue the reading here. And then if we move on, right, we have this part 3. Hitler had big plans for Germany on the world stage. Hitler's foreign policy had several aims. So policy is like some rules, yes, it was going to be the way that he was going to work. So let's read that and let's see if we understand. Okay, so we're going to read this box right now. So let's go. Number 1. And he wanted the Treaty of Versailles to be overturned. Hitler hated the treaty, which he saw as unfairly weakening Germany. Okay, again, overturned, I mean, just do the opposite, right? And unfairly weakening was making Germany weak, was destroying Germany power, and in an unfair way. What is that? I mean, with no justice. Okay, so of course Hitler saw that as something really bad, and actually it was kind of a bad. The Treaty of Versailles wasn't really something good for Germany, but I mean, so he had that, right? Number 2, he wanted rearmament. Germany had been forced to reduce its armed forces under the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler wanted Germany to be a strong military power again. Of course, he wanted guns, right? Protection. Next one, he wanted all German-speaking peoples to be united. When we say peoples, okay, what I mean here is that there were not, I mean, it wasn't only Germany who had people speaking German, there were other countries that also Germany was one of the languages of the country, so they want to unite everybody together. And then moving on. Okay, so I'm gonna read that third part again, just for us to get it clear. He wanted all German-speaking peoples to be united in a German Reich empire. Okay, so this would mean annexing Austria, joining Austria with Germany, and taking territory from Poland and Czechoslovakia, which had minority German populations. So this idea was known as Großdeutschland. Wow, meaning the Great Germany. This is Great Germany in German. Okay, and then the last one, he wanted to expand Germany's territory by taking land from peoples he saw as inferior, such as the Slavs. Yeah, so I mean, they thought, okay, so these people is inferior than us, and then so let's get his land, right? Let's take control over that. And this expansion would provide more Lebensraum, which means living space for the German people, right? So I mean, basic Hitler, I mean, I think, yeah, if we analyze like in a not really, how can I say that, a heartful way, right? Okay, so basically he just wanted to make Germany like a strong country. He wanted to conquer all territories around, yeah, and everybody who spoke German he wants to unite. Yeah, so I think his idea, at least in the beginning, was like, let's make Germany like a strong country, right? Let's make this country that was so, in his opinion, right, like I mean, unfairly attacked, right? Okay, because of the Treaty of Versailles and many other things, and destroyed by the war. Yeah, so let's change that situation. Of course, yeah. I believe that his biggest mistake was like, okay, so if you want to get bigger again, if you want to get stronger again, if you want to have a fair life, I think the first rule is do not destroy other nations, right? That's the beginning. At least I mean, not without reason, right? I mean, normally, in what kind of situations we can attack someone else. I mean, or maybe the best word, we can defend ourselves is when we are being attacked, right? So that's the thing. So let's get back to the reading. Okay, so I'm gonna get closer here a little just for us to read this information here about Hitler, right? So Hitler was a charismatic speaker and was popular among the German people. His Nazi party had been successful in German elections. This picture shows Hitler looking determined and strong, and he was used by Hitler's press office. Of course, right? Of course, of course. I mean, Hitler didn't get to the power. I mean, just like for nothing. Like he was a really good speaker. Yeah, like I mean, his oral skills, I could say, right? Like he had really talent to influence people. To like he could speak very well and in a strong way. So many people. I mean, like one nation, one entire nation doesn't follow just one person for nothing, right? I mean, probably they believed in him. Yeah, of course. Uh, it was he was a bad person, right? But I mean, he was a really good speaker, right? He could convince people to follow his belief, right? So we could see that in reality by the history, right? By by everything. So this is basically this first part, yeah, like this Hitler's description and some of the last reasons why the League of Nations failed, and I mean, and some of the reasons of the beginning, this second event, and yeah, that we know nowadays as the Second World War. So did you understand that? Okay, so I hope you really paid attention what I read and all of the words. Okay, of course, as always, yeah, I always repeat the same thing to you. If you see a word that you don't know exactly, okay, and if by any chance I didn't mention that during my explanations, ask, send a message, or look by yourself. Yeah, remember that the dictionary that I always recommend is the Macmillan Dictionary. Okay, so don't forget that. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, this is this let me get back here. This is the end, yeah, of this first part, which is we finish with the origins and outbreak of the Second World War. And don't forget, guys, what is outbreak, right? Discover the meaning of this word, okay? And then this is one of the homework, okay? So let's move to the second part, which is the question part. Okay, so here we are, yeah, in the second part, which is the question part, and give me a second and let it go. So the rise of European dictators, let's begin. Before you look at the impact that dictators like Hitler had on European affairs, you need to understand why they came to power. Have a go at these activities about the rise of Hitler and other dictators across Europe. Of course, yeah, how come they became the leader of this country, right? So let's begin. In this knowledge and understanding, we have here 5 questions. So I'm going to read them, and then this is what I expect you to answer. Number 1, what effect did the Locarno Treaties have on the countries to the east of Germany? So what effect did the Locarno Treaties have, right? So can you explain that? Number 2, explain why the Russian Revolution encouraged people in other European countries to vote for strong leaders. Yeah. So to explain this second one here, yeah, you have to remember what was this Russian Revolution and basically what is communism, right? So if you don't remember, we have the classes that we had before. So watch that again, pay attention, and then I'm sure you can answer this one with your really authority, right? With really real and correct information. Let's go. Number 3. And why did people in Germany see France as a threat? Remember that this word threat is as a problem, as a danger, yeah? Perigo. Number 4. Give 4 features. Remember that features, it's characteristics, right? Give 4 characteristics, features of Hitler's dictatorship. I don't want characteristics. I don't want features of Hitler itself or of a dictator. It's about Hitler dictatorship. What it means? It's his life as a dictator. Like, what kind of actions did he take? What exactly did he do? How he became to power? No, like, this is what I want. All right. So moving on. And number 5, copy and complete the mind map below, explaining the main aims of Hitler's foreign policy, right? So this is very important too. Do you know what is Hitler's foreign policy? Means qual que era, né? Qual que era aí o sistema de política estrangeira de Hitler, o sistema como que ele governava, administrava aí as relações exteriores, ok? Isso é Hitler's foreign policy, right? So as we have always, we have the mind map here in the beginning. Hitler's foreign policy aims, goals. So we have A, the Treaty of Versailles. So what was his opinion and what was his aim, towards the Treaty of Versailles? And how about rearmament? And how about this Grossdeutschland and Lebensraum? What was each of these definitions here, A, B, C, D, and what did Hitler do about that? Okay, so this is what I want you guys to do for me in this part. Okay, so moving on. And next one, here in this last part, right, we have thinking historically. Good. So number 1 here, right? So let's read that. Copy and complete the table below, explaining how each factor contributed to the rise of dictators in Europe. Include as much detail in your answers as possible. For example, we have factor, and we have the rise of dictators in Europe. Okay, the factor, what was the fact? What really led to this rise, right? And the rise of dictators is when the dictator got power in Europe. Okay, so A, attitudes towards democracy. So what happened exactly about democracy? Yeah, like, for example, like the League of Nations. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the dictators now, but what happened to democracy? Yeah, like someone said something, it was believed something specific about democracy that this situation helped to we have these dictators. So do you remember that? We have read about that. So go there, check that, and answer. B, the depression. The depression was also another factor, right? Was also another reason for the rise of dictators, for the creation, as we say. Okay, that's not a very good word, but for the creation of dictators. So why the depression was a good factor to this appearance of dictators? Remember? So give the explanation here. And the last one, the U.S. isolationism. Again, by this attitude, yeah, the U.S. America, they helped to create dictators, right? And how? So read again what was the connection between the U.S. isolationism and the rise of dictators, and then write that definition here for me. Okay? And then number 2, and which is the last one, which of the factors in the table above here, this one, right, do you think was the most important reason for the rise of dictators in Europe? And explain your answer. Okay, so you're gonna explain A, B, C, attitudes toward democracy, the depression, and US isolationism. So, but okay, we know that the 3 were some factors, with some reasons for this event, right? The rise of dictators. But which one do you think was maybe the most important, as we say? Which of these 3 was the one that really, pushed forward, really helped directly to this really sad event that we had, yeah, like Hitler, Mussolini, and some others. So this is basically what you have to do. Read that again, answer that carefully, okay? Be careful with your spelling, with the words. Make sure that your answers really match the questions, and that's what I expect from you, okay? So these basically are the questions of the day. I'm gonna just finish here with this last reading, and then we'll go to the end of the class. So many Germans hoped Hitler would solve their problems. So, in the exam, it is important to spend a few minutes planning your answer to longer questions before you start writing. This will help you to keep your answers focused and organized. Okay, so again, it's important for you to spend, of course, right? Okay, when you were answering, really read the article again, go back in some pages, really, like, don't answer only by using your memory and with no really some resources, right? Like, check it out the book, read again, take some notes, and then this is going to help you give a better answer and more correct. Okay, so this is really very important when we are, like, analyzing, when we are trying to answer some of these questions. And don't forget, right, the word outbreak. So this is a homework. Give me the translation for that, okay, on your homework. All right, so basically that's it for today. Okay, we are here, I mean, we have the time, right? So thank you very much for everything always, right? I hope you have enjoyed that lesson. So read carefully, read and read again, watch the video that I'm gonna leave for you, okay, about the parliament. And of course, thank you very much. See you next time, guys, and big hug to you. Bye bye.